Okay, I wanted to review working with your JPEG images and using kind of a raw format to work on your photos even prior to bringing them into Photoshop, fixing them up digitally. So I'm going to drop this into the Bridge if it's not already showing there. You can open up Adobe Bridge and most of your images should be there already. Okay, so there's my image there. And I'm going to open in Camera Raw. Right click, open with Camera Raw. Okay. So I've opened it up here and it's showing me already with my exposure that I've got a little bit of overexposure in the sky in between the branches here. Okay. And it's just showing that because I've got this clicked here. Okay, if that's clicked there. If I click the highlight there, if you can see that there. There are many menus here. We're going to use the basics. So I think at this point we're going to use the basics. If you roll your mouse over, it should already be defaulted in the basics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the exposure even maybe before I work with the temperature and the tint. Okay, so I can slide this down just a bit till that red disappears. Now if I click on this one, there, just there, when that red, so again I click that triangle there, that's too bright. So I'm going to slide the exposure down until that red mask disappears. Just there. So 1.0 is a bit much, minus 1.015. Okay. Now I'm going to probably work with my blacks because there's just too much black. Okay. The sky is a little bit better there. And same thing. When I start to go darker, it's showing me going blue there. That's too much black. You want to slide that beyond that. I might even go farther up. I think even something might be better is to work with shadows as well first. And if I slide that up, you can see what happens is that the tree bark, I get a bit more detail in there. And I can slide, I always like to go way too far and then pull it back. I can bring that down. If I go up higher, you can see the red up at the top there is starting to show. It's not going to show in the final print. It's just showing me it's blowing out the detail there. The blue sky is disappearing. So I'm going to work with my shadows now. And I'm going to bring those up a little bit. Like that, way up there. And maybe my whites. No, I don't want my whites to be darker. So I'm going to leave the whites alone. I was happy with that. And I can work with my contrast as well. So this is what I have before. This is what I have after. I'm happy there's a bit of blue sky there. I still see detail in the bark here. I still have nice detail in my highlights. They're not blown out to white. My sky isn't too white. There's a bit of blue in the sky in the morning sun. I could work with my temperature now if I wanted to add a bit more yellow. And I'll have to make an adjustment after. So I can warm it up maybe by 5, put a little bit of red. To make red, I just mix the pink and the yellow together. Now I'm going to work with my exposure again just to make that sky a little bit better. Like that. And there are other things. I think I could do a little bit of vibrance. Again, don't overdo it. It looks fake. Maybe like plus 10. And you could increase the saturation. But again, I'm not going to do very much there. Again, here's what I brought in before, right? And then this is what I have now. Okay, before, now. I think it's a little dark still, so maybe I'm going to crank up the exposure just a bit. Like that. That's as much as you need to do. Again, every photo is different, all right? But the key is you're trying to get your exposure correct and your temperature correct and your shadows with a bit more detail. I might slide a little bit more with my shadows there and just warm them up a bit more. Okay? Now you're ready to bring this image into Photoshop. You can also save this, and it's going to ask you where to save in the same location. That's fine. It will save the settings that you did on this photo. You can apply it to another photo if you wanted to, or you could just have it saved on this image here. I'm going to open up the image. And it's now going into Photoshop, but it's now ready to be cropped.